Hello, everyone, and welcome to What Do Sexual Assault Cases Look Like in Our Community? Foundations, the first case file review microlearning. These microlearnings will provide sexual assault response teams with further insight into the Case File Review Workbook entitled, What Do Sexual Assault Cases Look Like in Our Community? A Case File Review Workbook. This resource can be found on our website, mincasa.org. So today, first, we will discuss the purpose of the Foundation chapter in the Case File Review Workbook. Then, we will provide an overview of each of the activities that are found in this chapter, before finally determining alternative options if a team is not ready to begin case file review work. This microlearning series is a part of our rural project, and we would like to thank the Office of Violence Against Women for this support. My name is Miranda Gonzalez, and I am one of the rural project coordinators at SVJI at Mincasa. I have been with Mincasa for going on 2 years now. Previously, I was a community-based advocate at a dual service organization.
And my name is Fatima Hayoma. I'm the other rural project coordinator at SVJI at Mincasa. I've been with Mincasa for 3 years now, and previously I was a multilingual advocate and prevention education coordinator.
Before we get started, we would like to tell you a little bit about what we at SVJI offer. Our work can be divided into 4 different categories. First is providing trainings in the form of webinars, workshops, and conferences. In addition, we will also meet with teams and provide trainings on sexual assault response team topics. Some past topics include virtual engagement on Teams and case file review. We also develop resources to support Sarts and their work. These resources include templates, like building a mission and vision statement, and fact sheets, such as our fact sheet to run virtual meetings. We also post monthly on our Rural Realities blog and develop toolkits and guidebooks like our Case File Review Workbook, the basis for this microlearning series. SVJI also provides support to site coordinators and Sarts. This can also be referred to as technical assistance. This is where we can assist you with brainstorming issues, assistance with meeting facilitation, and problem solving around a variety of other issues. Essentially, any problem that you are experiencing regarding your sexual assault response team, please reach out to us for assistance. Lastly, we provide connections. So if there is an issue that you bring to us that we are not able to provide assistance on, we will make sure you get connected to the right people, such as experts or other technical assistance providers. We also help you get connected to your peers or mentors. We host a connection call once a month that will pick back up and is open to all SART teams nationwide. It is a great way to get connected to folks who are doing the same work and to bounce ideas off of each other. We are here to support you in all of your SART work.
First, we would like to spend some time describing what we mean by case file review. When we're discussing case file review in relation to Sarts, we are discussing one method of evaluation. Case file review is a systemic process of examining case files and identifying themes within the criminal legal response. It can help determine if established policies and protocols are being followed or if any deviations exist. Additionally, the review can identify gaps and barriers that hinder an effective community response to sexual assault. It's important to note that throughout this microlearning, we will be using the term case file to refer to all legal documents and records gathered in response to a reported sexual assault. This can include reports created by law enforcement, forensic medical examinations, and prosecutorial notes related to interactions with the victim survivor. We at SVJI recommend using closed cases when using this form of evaluation. At SVJI, we use a 4-step evaluation model. First, teams plan their evaluation. Then, they act and conduct the evaluation. Afterwards, they reflect on what they've learned before finally applying their new knowledge by determining actionable recommendations for the future. If your team is interested in reviewing the connection between case file review and evaluation, please refer to our 90-minute webinar titled, "What Do Sexual Assault Cases Look Like in Our Community?" a case file review webinar, which can be found on our YouTube page. Today, we will be focused on the first part of planning the evaluation by building the foundation needed for case file review. In subsequent microlearnings, we will discuss preparing for the review, the actual review itself, and analyzing findings and developing recommendations. The first chapter of the Case File Review Workbook is the Foundations chapter. This chapter allows teams to explore case file review as an evaluation process before fully committing to planning the review. Case file review can take teams 10 to 15 months to complete, so it's important for teams to have a complete understanding of what a case file review is and the information it can provide before committing the time and resources required to finish the review. In the Foundations chapter, teams will also think about how case file review applies to their specific community. For example, a team in a rural area may only have 5 to 6 cases to review and may only review how the team's protocol is recorded in case notes. Spending time to thinking about how case file review applies to specific communities ensures that the team maintains a focus on their community's overall response to sexual violence during the evaluation process. Finally, the Foundations chapter also allows teams to interact with the workbook format of case file review. Each chapter includes several activities to support teams through the discussion needed to complete the review. Each activity states the objective, how to interact with the activity, and provides spaces for the team to take notes. Some activities also have a background section that provides additional information that the team may find helpful when completing the activity.
In the Foundation chapter, there are 4 activities the team must complete. These include discussions for teams regarding the limitations for case file review, developing your anchor question, gathering leadership buy-in, and lastly, a readiness assessment. We will spend time going into more detail of these activities individually. Each of these activities may take up to a 90-minute team meeting to complete. In the bottom left corner of each detailed slide, we list the page number where the activity begins. We would also like to take the opportunity to remind teams to adapt these activities to fit their needs. Therefore, depending on the team, some activities may take more or less time to discuss. Before teams begin the review, it is important to spend time discussing the limitations of case file review. This evaluation process requires a significant investment. By having these conversations up front, team members will have clear expectations as to what case file review can provide. There are 3 common limitations to case file review. First, the review only evaluates sexual violence that is documented by the criminal legal system. Second, it does not evaluate services that are based outside of the criminal legal system. For example, teams reviewing case notes will not learn in detail about how mental health services in their community respond to sexual violence, because that response is outside of the criminal legal response. Lastly, this process does not evaluate individuals who are part of the response. Case file review is not a performance review, but rather an evaluation of the entire criminal legal response. Some questions for the team to consider when discussing the possibility of review are: what is each team member hoping to learn from the case file review? How does the team hope to use this information? Is that hope realistic? Are our agency leaders agreeable to this? Will they allocate resources and support to implement recommended changes? And is case file review the most victim survivor centered and trauma informed way to learn the information we're hoping for? If teams have experiencing challenges answering these questions, reach out to brainstorm with SVJI at svji@mincasa.org to see if case file review will work for the team's needs. Next, the team will take time to center the work of case file review on the specific needs of their community. To do this, teams will form an anchor question to describe their goals for the review. This question will be used by the team to recenter and focus their work throughout the evaluation. Teams should consider the following when developing their question. What areas of institution-based practices will we focus on evaluating in the case file review process? Can the team use the findings of this question to create actionable change that benefits victim survivors in their community? And how will this anchor center victim survivors from marginalized communities? Depending on the team's needs, this anchor question may be broad or very specific. For example, a team who wants to discover how their most recent protocol is being implemented in their community. Their resulting anchor question could be, how is our protocol documented in law enforcement case notes? On the other hand, some teams may want to learn about cases with more specific parameters. For example, a team may ask, how do we respond to cases of drug or alcohol facilitated sexual assault? We encourage teams to think critically about what information they want to learn before beginning the preparation process. Team members will need support of their leadership for the review to be successful. All team members will need the support of their discipline's leadership in order to devote the time needed to complete the review. However, it is especially important that the leadership from the discipline providing case notes understands their role in the review. Together, team members will develop a fact sheet that can be used to discuss the review process with discipline leadership. We encourage team members to be honest and specific when creating this activity. Some questions team members should answer include: what support will team members need from their organization? How will the team share information they learn and any recommendations they make once the case file review is complete? And if an organization has more questions about the review, what team member can they contact? By answering these questions, team members will develop a feedback loop specific to case file review. Once this activity is complete, team members may use this activity to discuss case file review and their needs with discipline leadership.
Finally, before starting to prepare for the review, teams should go through our final checklist to ensure they have everything they need. This is the final checklist before teams start planning for their specific review. We have already discussed several activities that the team can do together to lay the foundation for the review. However, each individual team member must also complete certain tasks to be ready for the review. Team members should be familiar with the current protocols for responding to sexual violence and the roles of each team member of the team. Some team members may also want to review these protocols before starting the preparations. Additionally, each member must be willing to explain the laws, ethics, and practices of confidentiality as they relate to their discipline. Upholding the various confidentiality requirements is an essential part of the preparations for case file review, which each member is responsible for. Team members must also be willing to work through conversations with their fellow members. Evaluation requires all team members to think critically and provide honest feedback. Team members must trust each other to navigate these conversations during the review. Additionally, the leadership of each discipline must also be ready for the review process. As discussed earlier, all disciplines must have their questions answered and be willing to support the review process for its entire duration. Once a team has checked off every item on the readiness assessment, they can begin preparing for the case file review. Once teams have completed the Foundations chapter, they may realize that they're not ready to complete a case file review, and that's okay. We encourage teams not to rush into this process and to take time to think about what they are wanting to accomplish. Teams that determine they are not ready should ask themselves some questions, such as whether they are ready for an evaluation process. If the team is newly formed, they may need to assess the status quo through methods like a community needs assessment before beginning an evaluation process. If the team determines that they are ready for evaluation, they may want to consider other evaluation methods besides case file review. Remember, case file review is just one method of evaluation and may not be appropriate in all circumstances. Some other forms of evaluation include focus groups, surveys, and informational interviews. Teams may refer to SVJI's General Evaluation Guidebook titled, "Are We Making a Difference?" on our website, mincasa.org, to learn more about these evaluation methods. If the team does decide they are ready for the evaluation phase, and case file review is the best method to learn information, they must determine what steps are needed to get ready for the review. For example, if the team needs leadership buy-in before beginning the process, they may want to consider hosting a training on case file review and inviting leaders of various disciplines to generate this buy-in. We recommend the teams reach out to SBJI staff directly to brainstorm various ideas to support them during this process. Today, you've explored the purpose of the Foundations chapter, discovered details of the 4 main activities of this chapter, and learned some options to consider if the team is not ready for case file review. In our next microlearning session, we will discuss preparing for the case file review. If you have any questions or would like to brainstorm how to adapt this process to fit your community, please reach out to us at sbji@mincasa.org.